Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. This is a Tales of Rhazie vid. How do I put this? This is partially to go over, some of the aging stuff. Quick also note, I don't know if I've shown this in another video yet or not. I did get the current plan for Slade's kits for book 1, ignoring Shadow and her kits, because I'm probably going to have to set up basically the same thing and redo it, but for Shadow, because she has kits with, what did I rename her mate? Because it's no longer Ace, was it Merlin? I think it was Merlin, that's why I renamed it. But yeah, Ginger and Kaba 2 equal Slade and Flora. Flora is potentially going to be alive during the third draft. I'm heavily leaning towards it for a group. I don't know if she will have kittens or just be a kind of an adopted figure. But the main cat Slade has kits with is Claire. Mostly because she can't escape him. Because he grabbed her and is threatening to kill Mink, her brother, who she cares dearly for. Granted, she has no clue if he's actually alive or dead, but the threat is still there. And really, it is kind of impossible for her to escape the Shadow Force. She also would not be someone who would abandon her kits, so yeah. Plus, she's not a fighter, she's a healer. Because she doesn't even know, outside of basic kit moves, how to fight properly, because she was never really good at it. She's always been good at healing. And then being taken by Slade and put in the Shadow Forest, yeah, it's practically guaranteed that she's doomed. And her ability to escape is practically non-existent. What is happening? Is Firepacker lagging? Hopefully it's not. But since this is for the start of book 1, please note some of these cats are going to get a slightly altered design for their kitten stage. I'm also trying to debate how actually the cats' ages are. So this might not be actually in order of which litter is the oldest, outside of obviously Slade's first litter with Claire, which has Shard and Goliath. Shard here's had a redesign. I have yet to, for whatever reason, work on making the bust go for some of its cats, but that's beside the point. Shard has a slightly larger limit than her mother. Her mother's litter size will always be 4. Shard, like most cats, does not have a set litter size. But Shard actually does pretty much have a early, not as early as her mother. Her mother's first heat was 4 moons. But she does become a parent pretty early on. Like, she's either gonna be preggers or just recently had kittens when Stone is born or something like that. Granted, that's also partly the style of how things are in Shadow Force under that toxicness where you're kind of forcing cats to have kittens whether they want them or not. Shard's just one of the few cases where she has somewhat of a choice, but if she wants to keep that choice, she has to be willing to have kids when she's probably not wanting to have kids, unfortunately. And while she is in a non-toxic relationship with her mate, it does put kind of pressure on them, because they both know if Slade decides, or even if their deputy Jack have noted, it's been a while since they have had kittens, and decide, oh, you haven't had kids in a while, clearly you need some encouragement and have someone else have kids with Shard, and both Flint and Shard do not want that. For Goliath, I don't actually know if I'm gonna give him kids. I will say this here and now, he is gay. And because he's gay, I have gone through many scenarios of how that's going to affect things. Mostly in the fact that he doesn't want kids. And his mate, who also is gay, has only had one litter of kids with a Molly. I think it actually is going to be Tulip, potentially. Out of obligation of not outing himself immediately. And to keep it the rouge that, hey, I don't want to get killed for being gay, because it's that kind of situation in Shadow Forest. And he, mostly after that one litter plays off, I am always been a weakish cat. I'm not worthy of having kittens. I'm lucky that my surviving kids in the litter, because some of his kids in the litter he had were dead, aka stillborn. Or even survived, let alone be healthy. He very much plays that up until situations arise. If I go with that situation where they could potentially get exiled. Potentially. It might not happen, it might happen. I'm kind of leaning towards 7. Also, because for family tree purposes and the fact that, what if I end up liking a design and decide, you know what, these kids could be reincarnated. Here are the stillborn kits from Clara and Slade, which are different from the original ones I did for third draft, but they're there. And then we have Stone. He got a bit more of a redesign than I intended mostly to give him a bit more marking on the stripes, but not the squiggly lines. Actually, not so squiggly lines. Might get rid of those. Also, Claire got a redesign because originally she was, everything that's a dark marking is new. I had already decided she was gonna get tuft ears. When she had got tuft ears, that those were gonna be white, so that's fine. The only thing that's changed there is the tips. But yeah, the dark markings are new. Also, note, where are they? Hawk here and Hazel, who did not get a redesign. All three of those were originally Claire's original litter, and then for the first draft. And then I retconned Shard into existence with a background thought of a deceased sibling that was stillborn. Then second draft, also stillborn. Early third draft thoughts, he's alive but gay. And this also led into the thoughts of, oh, Claire has a set litter size. Because of that, I did have to give Stone some new siblings. This also goes into the fact that, for Hazel, I was already gonna have the sibling that got murked, because in early third draft prologue, I was gonna murk the fourth sibling, because they had, what is it called? Fading kitten syndrome, but they were actually gonna be one of the rare cases of surviving it. Partly because Claire is a healer, so she knows how to treat it. It's hard to do that with Slade bearing down your neck, and he just murked her. And he threatened to murk Hazel as well. And then he just abandoned Hazel, telling the brothers, aka Hawk and Stone, that, oh, she's dead. She's dead. She died in her sleep or something. Stone never believed it. Hawk believed it like an idiot. Stone already known, but Stone's also more spiritual, so that's why he would know. And then later third draft thoughts where he gives them away, which was one of the things I considered, to a random stray, which would be this Molly here, who I didn't really have a set design for. All I knew she was gonna have cream. That's the only thing that was decided about her. And that this one would have a lot of cream, maybe not so much brown. And that Pheasant was gonna be her only son, but yeah. But as time went on, I realized, wait a moment, it would make more sense story-wise for them to be different siblings, because it doesn't really affect things too much. Sure, I'm still gonna separate them from Pheasant, because why not? But story-wise, I felt like it works better if I just naturally have them have different mothers. So they're not aware of each other. I don't even know. I don't know if Stone's actually gonna meet his sister, Hazel, in this draft. Kind of deal. Stone's in a weird limbo where I'm debating killing him off. For the purposes of breaking Shatter Knight. Because reasons. Because gay. Even though Stone is bi. Like Shadow Knight, he is bi. But yeah, Tulip, only daughter in this litter, fully cream and white. I like her design. I'm debating either killing her or giving her to Cliff Valley with Stone. That's basically all I can say. Ren and Merc, either killing them or turning them into a-holes. Or both. Fun fact, one of these two might actually be I think it's gonna be Ren. Might end up being a POV character instead of Stone, just to save on the fact that I do know for a fact Stone will be leaving Shadow Forest for, Cliff Valley. And I didn't want weird double ups on the point of views. Cause fun fact, I will have a POV character from each litter, is the plan, for at least book 1. Wisp is from Drawrick Lantern, you're not confused there, she is from there, so that's where her design comes from. I clearly forgot her nose color. That can be tweaked, it's fine. I've already decided that some characters from the latest Drawrick Lantern, I might have to change what template they were under after doing the entire recording of it. But she's a lesbian, and she's gonna seek sanctuary in Cliff Valley, offer her poor kids, and then have kids with Galen, Dustin's father, because she's in love with Nothoritz. She's a lesbian for Nothoritz, and has kittens with Galen. Nothoritz is made to be closer to Nothoritz. Nothoritz's death was painful for both Galen and Wisp. Here's Trout. Originally, she was going to be the mother, but then I realized Wisp works better design-wise for it to be the mother. I don't fully have any true plans for her or what her rank will be. Or if I'm going to acknowledge that both of these two have high-level litters. It probably will happen is if I do decide to have them have kits. Well, actually, that's a lie. I know Wisp is going to have kits. If I'm probably going to roll a minimum of 3, between 3 and 8. And roll for that to be their kit size. Tide, Tide is pretty close to Galen's kits because they were raised together. If I ever get, and they're older than him, so he's close to Dustin and is very distraught when Dustin disappears, because that's gonna happen. That's a minor spoiler, I guess. Ikor will be our POV character. Please note, Red is technically speaking a dilution of Cream in the opposite direction, because it's technically speaking Cream is a dilution of Ginger in my series. And technically speaking, Merc is a red-brown. Even though these guys don't really show that they have red-brown in them, the fact that Ginger and Flora are both have brown in, well, Flora has brown in her. It's basically the Cream mutating the freaking brown is basically how I'm ruling it. And you see that Ikor is a bit more of a true reddish color versus Merc's red-brown. Because you could argue that this is not reddish at all. I know some people say it would be red or not. Ikor is 100% a Twisted Shadow. I need to mark who are Twisted Shadows and who are not. I have not done that. I'm on the fence about Stone being a Twisted Shadow. Tulip, I kind of want to be a Twisted Shadow. I know these two are both Twisted Shadows. I think if there is a chance that Claire's entire second litter is Twisted Shadows, or Stone is the one exception. Or it's just Ren and Tulip. But not Ren, it's Warren. Brain, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm saying Ren. Ren's already a pre-existing character. Ugh. And a healer. Ugh. I'm sorry. But yeah, Ikor will be a POV character for certain. This Molly dies giving birth to Slade's kids. Hence why she keeps being quotations nameless, because her name is not relevant at all. Because she's just a random stray that happened to have her max litter size and died giving birth to complications of who knows what. Maybe the entire litter of her was large, even though usually larger litter sizes make smaller kits, and maybe that tore her. And the patrol of Clifflydon cats came just a bit too slow because, yeah, all her kits end up in Clifflydon. Technically speaking, there is a chance she is actually descended from the Eastern Rogues. Not a direct, as in one of her ancestors was born there, but not directly her. Hawk is a POV character and an antagonist. He does not understand about child support. He's like, what is child support? What do you mean I have to take care of the kid I caused to exist? Shouldn't I only care if they're worth something, if they prove something when they're older? Despite being raised in Clifflydon, he does not have the mindset. Also, fun fact, they originally do not know that their father is Slade. No one in this litter is a tabby. They all take off after their mother, who, actually, let me show you real quick, because I can do it, is a torty paint. That's literally what I based her off of, a torty paint. So technically speaking, not paint, point, Brandy. Paint is a horse. I am clearly not thinking clearly right now. I blame the heat. So technically speaking, every single one of these are some sort of point, but we don't really believe in coat patterns here properly, so take that with a grain of salt. But technically speaking, all these cats here are a point. Therefore, if I was to do, when I get into this, I'll get into this. I'll get into that in a minute with them. It would be more effective. This is Hawk. He's the antagonist. He's also a protagonist, because he's a bum dead. Here's Cricket. Where is Cricket's thing? Here it is. This is also Cricket, but not Cricket. Take that with what you will. Please note, some of these names also might be subject to change. Here's Valerie. And since I'm apparently pulling down, Isha, who's the only one who's fully black, ignoring the, well, mostly grayscale. She has a little bit of cream on her. Coco, Minnie, and Darcy. Actually, I guess you could argue that Isha got her dad's cream tail because he has a cream tail tip. But otherwise, you could vaguely argue that this is all within the delusion patterns that you can see from the mother. So, Isha having cream tail tits, the only hint towards potentially their father having cream on him, or having a cream gene, or she has a cream gene and it's just not her who has it, because ToR genetics does not work like real genetics. Basically, if a cat's ancestor has it, they can technically speaking pass it down. It's just easier if the cat has it to pass it down. And silver and cream itself are technically speaking recessive delusions. Therefore, it's easier for them to pass it down if they have it themselves. So Hazel, technically speaking, has silver in her, even though she doesn't show silver. Therefore, there's a chance for her to pass down the kids, but it's harder for her. Technically speaking, this will have a higher chance because he's blue, gray, and white, which all equals delusions of silver to some degree. But it's harder for Hazel. Just like Shard here, technically speaking, carries cream, and yes, some of her kits are gonna have cream on them. It's just harder for that to be passed down for her. Just like also the vengeful mother, who's purplish, can pass down purple, and it's really hard for it to show up in the bloodline because that's really recessive. Ida, the reason why I put a frowny face on the fact that she could apparently have a max litter of 10. By the way, I didn't roll over her number. I just gave her what I already planned, which was 3. Which, technically speaking, this does mean Hazel probably should actually have, and Arya should have a higher max litter if Ida's is 10. So maybe Ida's bloodline has a fluctuating litter size between 5 and 10. That, or I need to refigure out these two's litter size. But yeah, Hazel's design did not change. She's still POV character. Ida doesn't play a major role. She disappears early on. Granted, she might play a role later on. Pheasant's gonna appear again before she does, and he disappears too. Don't ask me what the role of Hawk's siblings are. They probably will have kits. All of them. With Hawk being the most crazy about having kits. Mainly because he's horny. Hawk is horny. So probably in regards to Hawk siblings, they would only have 1 to 2 litters. And probably for the Mollies, they probably will be mating with outsiders. Maybe the Toms too. I will admit, most of these guys are probably gonna have kits. I know Pheasant isn't. He's gay. He is gay as Goliath here. They're very much, if we're gonna have a child, we're adopting. Meanwhile, Hazel has a minimum of 3 litters. No, I think I've done a family tree where she has more, but yeah. And the reason why I'm going over so much of this, and this is going to be a longer episode, is because I don't know if I'm actually going to be doing the anniversary video, which is supposed to come out on the 19th. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Basically I haven't finished rewriting the new version of the 3rd draft prologue, where I don't mark Arya, who looks different in that, because Slade has different Mollies he's having kids with. And I'm making them all POV characters because I'm already going to do multiple point of views, where I'm going to have set cats that are my main point of views, and then I'll grab a point of view if I need it from someone else. And I just thought, you know what if we start the book with all of Slade's kids, all the POV characters are Slade's kids, and we can see how that affects them, or the seeming curse they have, or whatnot. I don't know. You know, technically speaking, none of Slade's kids are cursed, just Slade is. Minor note, because I just recorded this last night. Come on. Fire Paco. Respond, please. I mentioned this, I put this in the video that Claire's older sister, and then I realized, wait. I'm pretty sure Claire's parents have tuft ears. Unless they make not have tuft ears. Which I can't remember if I did or not. So if Mink has tuft ears and their parents have tuft ears, I'll change the template for this one. And if that's the case, I am redoing the template on this one too, and making this one also fluffy. Which really the only thing I'm doing, the only change that's gonna give is really the ear tips. And I just realized this is a Tom. Wait, no, this is a Molly. I thought this was a Tom for a second. This could be Silo's mother. I don't actually have Silo's mother designed yet. This could be Silo and Lilac's mother. I just would make her fluffy. And if she is their mother, she's the Twisted Shadow, and unfortunately she is dead. But I could also make it a child of theirs or someone else. Or I can make this Cloud and Sky. Child of Cloud and Sky. This has the wrong eye color. Unless I gave Claire's parents that blue eyes. Which I don't think they do. Unless I want to argue this is for a younger stage and change the eye color to green. This will not work as an older sibling for Claire, because I kind of wanted her to have at least 2 siblings that are alive, even though they have no relevance to the plot and they're technically speaking strays that may or may not appear. I will say this, if I ever use this character, they're dying. It's a bit more complicated than I normally would draw. Or they can live and not be a common character to show up. Okay, in regards to the group headshots, before I get to that, I actually do not have full bodies roughed out for the adults for the templates. I have the rough template for the young adult into adult. This is also why I need to slightly redo the current template. I wanted the current, what I put for adult to actually show in the young adult, and the young adult current one to be the youngster is my current decision. Minor thoughts for more sexual dimorphism between Toms and Mollies. Toms have rounded tip tails. Females are pointed. Females' tails are also double their body length at max, a minimum 1.5. Toms should equal about their body length. Maybe a little bit longer or shorter than that set length. I'm getting rid of the plume tails because I don't want to draw that, but they will be getting a mane of sorts. It's more noticeable on fluffy toms. And if you're wondering about the why I'm giving the females like a, I don't know what it's called, a ridge, an extra fluff on top of the fluff on their spine. I look at Vivian from The Stolen Hope and thought, ooh, that's pretty. I wish my cats OCs had that. Also, Toms gain a beard. More noticeable on, more longer one on the fluffy, of course. And as they get older, their ear tufts start to protrude and become more noticeable. And they get some face wrinkles. Was the main thoughts. And females, if they're fluffy, get a little bit more of a fetlock. Toms get full fetlock. More so on the fluffy end, but still, fetlocks. And as I said, I do have this vaguely set up. I need to tweak it for the youngster to be the current young adult and actually have the adult showing the early signs of this to match the full body. I also need to debate if I'm showing the flank on the kittens. Or if I should say F showing the side, even though it's where I can usually get distinguishing marking sometimes. Yeah. I was going to draw cats or design some elders to show the differences. And currently I have I have the old template design before I decided bending the ear when they become elderly is too much of a pain. Here's Anik, our elderly visionary of Cliff Valley. Who probably should be a PvP character for the prologue. Maybe, I don't know. But as you see, she has heterochromia, and her markings are developing and whatnot. And her color. And then she gets adult and stuff starts to slowly dull, and in her eye color, to be exact, her eye color dulls. And then she gets silver roning. If I remember right, I think I hit like 50% on the grunge brush for the silver, because it was a bit too noisy to not do that. But this is before I decided I'm not making the ears bend. It's a bit too much. There's another reason why I need to redo this. As you see, I have this here, and then for some reason I don't have the chest here on the fluffy tom. I don't know why. I think I did an okay job for this, for assuming this was going to be the completed version. Like another thing is kittens or fur is more rounded as they become adults. Their fur becomes more pointed. Also, I have like two styles for drawing tufted ears, hence why we get this weird mashup of this to this. Sometimes it's a pain to draw tufted ears. Sometimes. But yeah, kittens in my series open their eyes between 3 and 7 days. I'm pretty sure it's longer than that. Pretty sure it's like 2 weeks or something longer. Technically speaking, the kittens are only born partially deaf. They can hear sound very faintly, but their hearing gets better before their eyes even open. And whatnot. Their eye color takes about 4 moons to develop, cats who have blue eyes, for whatever reason, instead of being faster to develop, it takes longer. But yeah, let me turn off the Anik preview. Newborns are up to a week old. Young kittens are up to 3 moons old, aka during their weaning process. I probably should have put that as 2, but that's fine. Please note, a kitten over 2 moons old might occasionally be called just a kitten, or they just might be called kittens in general. This is just mostly for family tree purposes of distinguishing cats' ages, because some cats are stillborn and whatnot. Kittens are 3 to 6 moons old, aka they are child until they hit puberty. Puberty, where they are an adolescent, aka 6 moons to 18 moons. Reminder, Tales of Rhazie is an 18-month year, not a 12-month year. So what takes us a year and a half takes a full year in Tales of Rhazie. The seasons are 5 months from summer to winter, 3 months just for spring. Cats are considered young adults until 3 years old. Once they become 3, they're just a general adult. At 5 years old, they are senior until they are about 13, and then they're considered an elder. But some cats may retire to elder rank before such a time hits, depending on their health and whatnot. Minor note about albinism and white fur in general. I know, technically speaking, it causes light sensitivity. Technically speaking, in a lot of animals, including cats, that does not happen until they are elders. That's when they start getting light sensitive, if they have that gene deficiency that causes that for Tales of Rhazie. Anik has silver roning. Some elders will not have roning. Roning is most common in cats who are just simply dark colored. There are cats who won't have roning even though they're dark colored. Cats developing some sort of grayscale, aka white to silver pretty much, maybe steel, but steel's pushing it somewhat. Can be developed as markings, usually mostly around the muzzle. White patches is another common sign of being an elder, or the dulling of one's pelt, where their colors are much duller. Usually that happens if it can. I don't remember my own notes, and I don't feel like looking up because I might be changing some of those notes. Not all characters go through a pelt change beyond the initial eye color change until they're going from senior to elder. But there are certain cats that do, and those that do run the risk of being assumed to be possessed or hiding the fact that they are possessed. Vitiligo, or how we pronounce it, can get mistaken for possession. But most healers that are not strays or faction cats do know for a fact that that's not possession. I'm gonna go back over here. Not this one. Wrong tab. Clicking on the wrong things. It's fine. Okay, if I come here, the Ember gene. will 100% get a cat confused to be possessed. And possession is usually seen as something dangerous because of spirits trying to reincarnate in unnatural means. Most notably, the soul thief, aka Duke, reviving through usually a blood relative of the same gender, and possessing them and somewhat fracturing their mind slash soul as they escape, and then in Duke's cases murdering the cat they once possessed as a host just to steal their life force. Not all cases of possession is bad, but it can be. Amber, which I plan to actually have a few cats be Amber, potentially, show up in the series, is assumed to be a type of possession because of how uncommon it is. Or if it happens, usually the cat is just simply killed, no question asked, and act like, oh, it was something else that killed them. But yeah, Vitiligo, gradual loss of pigment. The main example I have is Star, who went from being heavy white overlay to fully white with some ginger. I also might grab some cats that look similar to more be based on these ginger cats right here, the blue golden shell and the copper, because I think that looks cool. I'm gonna say this here now. I keep forgetting I have an OC that is this, but with, I think, green eyes. I just don't use him because the Diamond Legacy series is kind of dead. At first it was an infinite hiatus, and then I just don't really think about it that often anymore. Like, the occasional times I do think about that series, I question if I should make it an Anthro series. I do technically speaking have a Seppa paint already in, Danny. I believe it's Danny. So he will, show how that works. This does mean all of, Hawk and his full siblings are going to do this type of thing with their full design. Just to show off. Also, there is a chance, if I go to this one again, oops, no, I'm already in it, I'm being dumb. There is a chance, these cats' markings might develop a bit more. This might be for a different stage. Like, for instance, she's kind of pale and doesn't have that much markings, so her markings might change a bit more. As for Cricket and his markings, those secondary markings only exist in a certain moment in the story, and he will get either one shot or a temporary POV in regards to that. Because Hawk isn't there when that happens. So all of Hawk's full siblings will actually have their markings be gradual. Cats like Hazel probably won't actually get any change outside of eye color. I don't really see Hazel's markings changing at all. Aria, I'm still not fully sold on her design, so I might tweak that a bit further. I might actually turn her grayish markings black. And see if that makes me feel better. I don't know. But yeah, basically, big purpose for this being a bit longer episode, even though it's gonna make this a shorter thing, was I don't know if I'm gonna have time to finish up writing the prologue. Plus, I probably should actually finish up writing Jace's escape. Even though he doesn't really want to escape Cliff Valley, it's just the circumstances behind it. Not that he will remember those circumstances. I also need to finish up Corrupted Desires at some point. And if I'm actually going to go through with finishing up the second draft, I probably should get that done also sooner than later. But yeah, that'll be a whole thing. Plus, I want to do art for the prologues to show different things in the prologues to show further show their differences, and I haven't really had time to draw anything. I've been focused a lot on the solo recordings, and I've been trying to work on drawing a clan gen late at night, which is the main time I've been drawing. But yeah, I will see you all in the next episode. If you have any questions in regards to lore, let me know. I'll either answer a comment down below or make a video about it, even if it's months after the video comes out. I'm fine with it. And probably most of the stuff is subject to change to some degree. Like, I might change the bus a bit more. I do know Anik will have Roning. I have already decided that. There's no changing that. And her design's not changing from what it is currently, because I like it. Because she's actually had a recent redesign, and I liked how it came out. The only thing in regards to Anik that might be changing is she might be going from being Ruby's grandmother to his great-grandmother. Because technically speaking, she is probably almost 20, if not higher than 20, when the book starts. And is about probably a year off from where she would start deteriorating until she passes away. So, however old she is, she's about a year off from where she would naturally die, but she's not deteriorating until she's after that point, if she reaches that point. And because of that, it kind of makes it iffy if I should have Anik be a grandmother instead of a great-grandmother. I should maybe put her great-grandmother, which kind of puts the same stance for how I'm doing Ivy and Jenna. Do I put Ivy, who's in the Cliffside Dawn, who I don't have up right now, do I have her just be a foolish cat who had a kitten when she was senior, and her daughter is now much younger than her, and Ivy is retired and whatnot, and will get future grandkids that she maybe will live to see, maybe won't, I don't know. Maybe there's a chance to let Ivy live to see grandchildren, or not. Or grandkittens, to be more accurate. But yeah, with that said, I'll see you in the next video, which might be the anniversary date, or it'll just be, the next video might just be NCCP, depending on if I have time and if I get the prologues done. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!